Tarask's fingers danced over the keys of her typewriter, the rhythmic clack of metal striking paper punctuating the relative silence of the brilliant bibliodome. Towering shelves crammed with ancient tomes loomed around her like sentinels, watching her through dust motes that swirled lazily in the filtered light. Her cataloging system was almost there. One final adjustment and the organization would be flawless. The steady beat broke as the tiny wings of Pip, the anxious pixie, buzzed in. Her translucent wings shimmered, reflecting shards of sunlight like a mosaic of scattered doubts. "Tarask, have you heard?" Pip's voice, a blend of urgency and uncertainty, sliced through the tranquility. Tarask looked up, adjusting her glasses. "What about?" "It's bad." Pip hovered closer, her small frame vibrating with tension. Whispers among the adventurers, talk of an attack. They want to raid the dome. Adventurers? Again? Tarask grimaced, fingers pausing mid-type. They can't possibly think they'll succeed. But what if they do? Pip darted in an agitated zigzag, her wings flapping faster. "You're cataloging everything you've worked for. They'll destroy it." Tarask leaned back, crossing her arms. "I'm sure I can defend it. I've kept them at bay before." "What's changed?" Pip landed lightly on a nearby book, her wings slowing. "They're more organized this time. They have a plan, Tarask. And you're just blind to it." "I'm not blind," she shot back, but felt a prick of doubt. The cataloging system was her baby, a source of pride. "What do you want me to do? Stop working? I can't just abandon my project." "Your project?" Pip's voice sharpened. "And what are you to this place without it? Just a passive guardian? You're wasting time." "Wasting time?" Tarask's brows knitted together. "I'm trying to give the library a future. You think these adventurers care about my cataloging?" Pip flitted to her shoulder, frustration simmering. "You tinkering with catalogs won't stop them from raiding. You refuse to see the bigger picture." "Refuse? You're being melodramatic." Tarask rolled her eyes, returning to her typewriter. "Focus on your own problems, Pip." Pip clenched her tiny fists, buzzing with indignation. "This isn't just about me. It's about everything we protect here." "Protect? Look at you! You barely contribute anything substantial." Pip's wings froze momentarily. "Why do you always do that?" "Do what?" Tarask's fingers hovered over the keys, the words catching in her throat. "Dismiss me. You think you're so much better than me just because you have a scheme." A silence blanketed the room, punctuated only by the sound of an unwritten page. Tarask sighed, wrestling with the tension. "Fine. So what do you want me to do?" "Formulate a defense plan." "While I finish this system?" "Yes." Pip's voice echoed sharply, tinged with desperation. "You can't just sit there counting letters while we're all at risk. Be a guardian for once." Tarask's mouth set in a thin line. Pip's fervor was almost exhausting. "And if I say no?" "Then when they come, and they will, you'll understand exactly how useless a dusty catalog is." A challenge hung in the air, charged and electric between the two. Tarask returned her gaze to the typewriter, fingers wavering. The shadows stretched long in the twilight, the sanctuary bathed in golden hues as Alaric Forge flicked through a worn map spread over a wooden crate. His band leaned in, Luna, her dark cloak framing her pale face, fingers drumming hesitantly on the rough surface. Jaren, poised with a bow slung casually over one shoulder, exuding an air of confidence. "Here," Alaric pointed to the dimly lit outline of the bibliodome. "This is where we'll strike. We bypass the main entrance and take the side door. That'll." "Are you sure that's the best idea?" Luna interjected, her brow knitting. "What if Tarask catches us? I've heard she's formidable." Jaren chuckled, leaning back against the crate. "Formidable? You mean she types all day, clutching her precious books like a dragon hoarding gold?" "She's hardly a threat. Luna crossed her arms tightly, shifting her weight. But these artifacts, they matter to her. They're her life. Which is exactly why they'll make us legends, Alaric shot back, enthusiasm edging into frustration. Fame, fortune, it beats sitting in some dank tavern dreaming. Alaric, Luna's voice grew tense. There's a line. We're not thieves for the sake of cruelty. What if we take something of hers? Something of hers? Jaren raised an eyebrow. Like what? Some dusty relic? Might as well take her heart while we're at it, snorted Alaric. What's this change of heart, Luna? You know this is how we make our name. Luna's gaze flicked away, darkening with unease. We talk about treasure, but we don't talk about the person we're hurting. Tarask trusts this place. She believes we have a code. Your code is good only until someone offers you gold, Jaren smirked, stepping closer, his tone mocking. No one's protecting anyone here. This is about survival. Is it? Luna's voice cracked, agitation creeping in. Or is it just about greed? Enough. Alaric's voice cut through the escalating tension. If we second-guess ourselves now, we might as well head home. Focus on the plan. We in or out? Luna folded her arms tighter, shoulders stiffening. So we just ignore the consequences? Consequences? You make it sound like we're going to kill her, Alaric said, almost incredulously. It's just a quick grab and go. Plus, the Bibliodome is meant to be a treasure trove. Tarask being upset is collateral. Jaren tilted his head, half smiling. You'll get used to it. It's a dog-eat-dog world, Luna. We either claw our way to the top or we get left behind. The wind picked up slightly, ruffling Luna's cloak. And what happens when we're the ones with our backs against the wall, hounded by conscience and guilt? Alaric shot her a glance, fingers drumming against the map. What's happening to you? You're in this or you're not. Luna hesitated, caught between conviction and consequence, her emotions a swirling maelstrom. She brushed a loose strand of hair behind her ear. I can't just abandon what I believe in for a few coins. Jaren's smirk faded. Then it seems you need to make a choice, Luna. You with us, or do we leave you behind? Because we can't afford a third wheel. Luna's heart raced in the quiet moment that followed as they waited for her answer, the looming decision hanging heavy in the dusk air like an unsheathed sword. Tarask's fingers pulled away from the typewriter. A sudden tension crackled in the air, filling the dusty quiet of the Bibliodome. She had felt it all day, an unease that gnawed at her focus like a pestering rat. Rising from her desk, she straightened her glasses and moved carefully through the aisles, the familiar musty scent of aged paper wrapping around her like a second skin. Cracks on the polished floor caught her eye, and faint scuff marks marred the previously pristine paths between the towering shelves. She approached with mounting dread, the hairs on her neck pricking at each telltale sign. Shadows flickered further down the aisle. Hello? Tarask's voice echoed softly, but returned to her unanswered. She pressed forward, heart hammering in her chest, desperately wanting to convince herself it was just her imagination. As she turned the corner, another presence loomed nearby, half hidden behind a shelf. Tarask's breath hitched when she spotted a dark figure, a girl in a gloomy cloak, casting furtive glances toward the tomes. Who are you? Tarask asked, her voice sharper than intended. Luna straightened, panic flickering in her eyes. I'm just... Tarask's mind raced. You're one of them, aren't you? I thought I could sense. Are you the one planning to raid the dome? No. I mean, yes, but it's not as simple as that. Luna stepped closer, stammering. I didn't come here to hurt anyone. You think that matters? Tarask's voice rose. You're still an intruder in my home. Luna's expression shifted, frustration building. I didn't mean to. Tarask cast a glance towards the shelves, feeling an unsettling tightness coiling in her stomach. You'll ruin everything. Look what you've done just by being here. A sudden noise echoed from the entrance, a rustle of leaves disturbed by movement. Tarask turned, instinctively shoving Luna aside, her heart racing again. They're coming. We have to hide. Luna's expression twisted, now mingling fear and disbelief. You mean I don't care who you came with. You need to take cover. Tarask urged, her senses heightened as she slid behind a nearby stack of books, beckoning for Luna to follow. As Luna crouched, a shift in the air became palpable. Footsteps grew louder, rhythmic, and heavy, intruding on the fragile silence that the bibliodome wore like armor. The figures emerged, Alaric and Jaren, shadows scraping against the abundance of knowledge. "Did you see her?" Alaric whispered to Jaren. "The winged one? She's in here." Tarask's heart quickened. "You shouldn't be here," she called out, surprising herself with the strength of it. The trio froze as if she had unleashed a spell. Alaric's gaze flicked toward Luna, then back at Tarask, confusion etched across his features. "You know her? She's not one of us." Tarask shot back, defiance wrapped in her words. "She's with you, isn't she?" Luna's eyes widened, her heart pounding at the implication. "I'm not here to assist them." "I was trying to." "Trying to what?" "Help her," Alaric barked, stepping forward, stance aggressive. "You've thrown your lot in with the enemy." "No," Luna claimed, voice strained. "I came to warn her, to understand." "Understand? You're still here." Tarask's chest heaved with frustration. "You're all wrapped up in schemes, yet you expect compassion for your betrayal? You're a traitor among thieves." A pregnant silence settled, swirling like the tension in the aisles. Luna stirred, head down, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't think." "Enough," Jaren interjected, tension sharp in his voice. "This is pointless. We need to make a decision." As the looming threat pressed on, the lines blurred between hostility and a desperate call for loyalty. The three stood amidst a library of secrets, each wrapped tightly in their own corners, decisions churning like the pages of every book that surrounded them. A rattling clamor surged near the entrance, echoing ominously through the aisles of the bibliodome. Tarask's heart raced, instinct driving her to move towards the source, where she found Alaric standing boldly in the threshold, flanked by Luna and Jaren. "Let the games begin," Alaric bellowed, a gleam of triumph in his eyes. Tarask stood tall, resolve hardening in her chest. "You'll not take anything from here." Luna hesitated, caught between loyalties. "Alaric, it's only books." "They're not just books. Those texts hold power," he pressed, stepping closer, revealing a shimmering artifact clutched in his hands. "With this, I can bind creatures of your kind. You, Tarask, will be at my command." The artifact glinted, an unsettling shine, filling the dim light of the dome with an ethereal glow. Tarask recoiled, fear clawing at her insides. "You wouldn't dare." "I would," Alaric asserted, voice steady. "You've protected this useless collection long enough. It's time someone put you in your place. You're a fool if you think I'll let you lay a finger on me, or on my collection." Tarask shouted back. "Enough talk. We're here to take what's rightfully ours." Jaren grinned, brandishing his bow. "Rightfully yours?" Tarask spat. "You've wandered too far into what you don't understand." "Then let's settle this," Alaric said, adjusting his grip on the artifact. "I can't just let you walk away, Tarask." Without warning, Eldrin burst into the scene, the wizard's robes swirling around him like a storm cloud. "No one lays a hand on her, Alaric." "Eldrin," Tarask breathed, relief mingling with apprehension. "What are you doing here?" "Keeping you safe," Eldrin replied firmly, locking eyes with Alaric. "And the bibliodome, too." Pip zipped in from above, urgency coursing through her tiny form. "You have to focus. If he binds you, the whole library is at risk." Tarask straightened, a surge of determination filling her. "You won't take this from me." "But I can." Alaric's voice rang out, cutting through the air. He lifted the artifact, chanting a spell that caused it to pulsate ominously. Shadows flickered across the shelves, wrapping around Tarask like a sinister shroud. "Stay together," Eldrin commanded, taking a step forward. "We can counter this." The space grew charged with tension, a battle of wills suspended between them. Alaric grinned, drumming up his power while Jaren knocked an arrow, eyes glinting with mischief. "Let's see how brave she is when faced with actual power." Alaric taunted, unleashing a wave of energy that snapped forward, hitting Tarask and pushing her back against the shelves. The tomes rattled, dust falling like forgotten memories shaken loose. "I'll fight for what is right," Tarask shouted, her voice strained but fierce as she took a deep breath. Drawing on every ounce of strength, she surged back, tapping into her passion for the knowledge and magic the dome harbored. "Now, Tarask." "Together," Eldrin urged, channeling all his will as he extended his hands toward the artifact. The two energies collided, a brilliant burst of light emanating from the center, casting a luminous barrier around Tarask. Alaric staggered, a flicker of uncertainty flashing across his face. "Do you really think you can defy me?" he sneered, scrambling to find footing. Luna, caught in the crossfire of her divided loyalties, stood frozen. "What are we doing, Alaric?" "Luna, get the artifact," he shouted, forcing her to move, but she hesitated. "Can you not see this will lead to destruction?" Luna snapped, her voice breaking, but the sound was lost in the fray as tension twisted in the air. Tarask's resolve surged in the chaos, her heart steadying against adversity. The power between them swirled, an energy that threatened to consume but also ignite. "Protect this dome," she commanded, finding strength as Eldrin amplified her magic. The air around them vibrated with intensity, the outcome teetering on a precipice as the lines blurred between light and shadow, friend and foe. Amidst the swirling tension, Luna stood paralyzed between Alaric and Tarask, the air thick with uncertainty. Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat forcing her to grapple with the storm of loyalties raging inside her. Alaric's commanding presence loomed like a weight beside her, while Tarask's defiance flared with a fervor that captivated her, drawing her in like an unquenchable flame. "Luna, now's not the time," Alaric shouted, raising his voice over the chaos. "This isn't a game. Grab the artifact." Luna tightened her fists, glancing between the two. "Alaric, we can't just—" "Stop hesitating." He clenched his jaw, frustration spilling over. "You want the glory, don't you? You want to be part of something bigger." But another part of her was flickering, a truth that grew stronger with each pulse of light around Tarask. "What if this is wrong?" she whispered, still reeling from the clash of her conflicting emotions. "Simon, you're better than this, Luna." Alaric's voice softened, beckoning her with the promise of adventure and fame. "Don't let her manipulate you." Pip darted in and out of their field of vision, her tiny wings fluttering in a frantic rhythm. "Luna, focus! We need a distraction." With a split moment of distraction, Pip collided into a shelf, sending a cascade of tomes spilling forth like fireworks, igniting the air. The stack crumbled, causing chaos to erupt within the sanctuary. "What?" Luna gasped, eyes widening as the books flew back to life, their pages flapping wildly, swirling about her in a storm of ink and parchment. "Pip, no!" Tarask yelled, but the sprite was lost in the frenzy of disorder. "Hold your ground," Alaric barked, trying to regain control amidst the melee. "Cover me, Jaren." Caught in the chaos, Luna's thoughts raced. One path leading her deeper to Alaric, the other beckoning her toward Tarask. "What's the right choice?" she gasped, her voice lost in the noise. The flying books began to form a barrier, swirling more ferociously as Tarask channeled her energy to combat both the magical disruption and the threat Alaric posed. "Fight alongside me," she called out, gaze piercing through the chaos. Luna felt a weight lift, an unexpected kinship forged in the heat of battle. Tarask's eyes glimmered with purpose, and the connection sparked something inside her she had buried for too long. "Luna, don't you dare!" Alaric shouted, caught off guard by the spiraling disturbance. "We're losing control." The sound of cracking wood, splitting pages, and the frantic hum of magic filled the dome, a cacophony of unrest. As the book spread out, revealing hidden passages and lost treasures, it became clear. The dome held secrets far beyond mere artifacts. Jaren knocked an arrow, eyes sharp and focused. This place is coming down around us. Tarask shouted over the din, "Help me tame this energy, Luna." "We can use it." That flicker of resolve ignited within Luna anew. She reached out for the magic swirling around her, feeling the connection as it coursed through her veins. "Together," she yelled, determination lurking behind her voice. "Together?" Alaric whispered, lip curling in disbelief. The shimmering energy overflowed, casting a glow that repelled his approach. In that moment, caught in the pull of spiraling fate, Luna stepped toward Tarask, abandoning the rustle of Alaric's tugging ambitions. In sync, they reached for the wild magic, weaving together the scattered forces into a single pulse, revealing echoes of forgotten spells and protective wards. Tarask's gaze steeled with a newfound strength, while Luna's heart soared, unshackled from the fear that had bound her. Around them, chaos reigned, yet unveiled a deeper truth, a bond entwined by choice and consequence. The sanctum was alive, breathing and hallowed, as the duo stood united against the impending storm. The bibliodome groaned as the ancient structure began to tremble, the force of unleashed magic rippling through the air like a storm. The books hovered around Tarask and Luna, swirling anxiously, caught between their will and unbridled chaos. Tarask's heart raced as she cast a glance at the shelves, the tomes beginning to tumble and scatter like leaves in a tempest. "We have to go," Tarask shouted, urgency infusing her voice. "We can't let it collapse on us." "Where?" Luna asked, breathless and wide-eyed as a shelf creaked ominously overhead. "Alaric's still out there." "Then we confront him together," Tarask said decisively, stepping toward the nearest exit, eyes unwavering despite the chaos surrounding them. "They'll use you to bind me," Alaric barked as he maneuvered through the sliding books and fallen debris. "You're a fool to think you can protect anything here." Eldrin tilted his head, frustration boiling as he tried to fend off loose pages, flailing like wild birds. "You're the one blinded by greed, Alaric," he retorted, his voice edged with desperation. "This chaos will only bring ruin." "I've seen ruin, old man," Alaric shot back. "And it's better to control those who threaten than to let them roam free." "No," Tarask cried, holding up an arm as books spun wildly, a protective shield forming under her command. "You are too far gone to see what this place truly means. Now you protect what you don't understand?" Alaric sneered, eyes narrowing. "You will yield. You don't know the power you harbor." "We know more than you think," Luna interjected, stepping up beside Tarask, vulnerability buoyed by unyielding resolve. "You believe you can win, but you're wrong." Alaric's expression turned cold. "You've both lost your minds. You could have had power beyond your wildest dreams." "This isn't about power," Tarask retorted, her hands trembling with the pulsing energy that surrounded them. "It's about family, knowledge, the heart of this sanctuary." Jaren, standing a few feet aside, gritted his teeth and knocked an arrow. "Enough talk. We need to end this." The sanctuary shook again, dust raining down as the books flickered with arcane energy. Luna glanced at Tarask, a mix of fear and determination. "What do we do?" "Stick close," Tarask urged, lunging forward to gather the magic thrumming around them. "We can channel this together." Alaric tightened his grip on the artifact, eyes glinting with venom. "Then let's end this farce." He thrust the artifact into the air, an intricate rift sparking with chaos, and shadows began to sweep across the dome. A surge of raw magic swelled in response. Tarask, feeling the library's heart beat strongly beneath her feet, a pulse that resonated through every tome. "Now!" she shouted, locking eyes with Luna. Under the impending shadows, the two women struck out, their hands melding within the pulsating energy. They harnessed the force like a tether, focusing it toward Alaric with an unyielding conviction. In stark contrast, Eldrin stepped forward, casting a barrier that intertwined with Tarask and Luna's growing strength. "Stand together. We cannot let him break this." "Together?" Alaric barked, laughter spilling from his lips, a discordant sound amid the chaos. "You think unity will save you? It's a weakness." The cacophony of sound swallowed his words, the magic coalescing into shimmering arcs, prepared to deflect the wrath thrown toward them. Tarask drew on her emotions, fusing with Luna's determination, and they began to channel the energy, projecting it forward into a blinding blast intended for Alaric. But as realization flickered in Alaric's eyes, he turned to Eldrin, their ideological clash manifesting into palpable tension. "You've betrayed me, old man. You'll regret this." "I regret nothing," Eldrin shouted, furious, drawing forth his own power to stabilize the collapsing structure around them. A web of conflict hung between their stances, an impending shift creating fractures in their alliance. With no time left, Tarask and Luna pressed on. Together, their combined force surged into a radiant wave, barreling toward Alaric and crashing into his darkened tent. The force collided, throwing books upward in a delightful chaos. Alaric staggered, the artifact cracking as shadows shrieked. "No, this doesn't end here," he roared, his sinister grip faltering. In that fleeting moment, chaos erupted, and the bibliodome trembled, the heart beaconing their choice. It was a shared decision made under duress, not merely for victory, but to protect a sanctuary threatened by ambition. The last remnants of the light flickered, the invisible boundary of loyalty stretched to its breaking point as the battle raged on.